Okay, so we're just setting up an Aqua One Mini Reef 120 aquarium. We filled it up with salt water. We've put a bit of coral sand in the bottom, and we have the sump running. We have some marine pure that we've used to chock the protein skimmer. And it's very important, this media is never washed with water from the tap. You only wash it in water from the fish tank. And that is really the best media to go for because of the parallel denitrification that it offers. We had a big block and we just cut it into pieces. Now we've got a heater over here. The heater's set at 25 degrees. The light should only come on the heater if the temperature is below 25 degrees. If it's above 25 degrees, there's nothing the heater can do about it. So if this position means the tank's going to be constantly running over 28 degrees, then you need to think about a chiller, or go to Bunnings and get a fan and clip it on here and blow it over the sump. It can be surprisingly effective. Now this protein skimmer, the first thing you need to know about this protein skimmer is that when you get the protein skimmer, you need to pull this whole thing off and then just push it in a little bit to stop this from being blocked up. Because when it comes all the way on and it's half blocked up. That's the first thing you need to do with this protein skimmer. Then the way you set this protein skimmer is there's your water level on the protein skimmer. So you turn your pump on, you make sure this is out of the water and make sure this is open, can suck air. Then the water goes into the protein skimmer. Now these are valves, these red things. Now this is very beautiful because I have the white in the top here. If the white comes out, then what we're going to do is open these valves a tiny little bit. If the white is too far down, we're going to close these a little bit to bring it up, because that'll change the pressure in here. The brown or the yellow, it needs to come out. The white needs to stay in. Now, this is a fairly good skimmer if it's cleaned really regularly. And when you clean it, all you do is take the tap off, get yourself a brush, like this imaginary one, and clean the inside of this. Don't use your finger, use a brush. If you clean out the inside of this, and put this back on, doesn't take you very long, and it's very effective. Within days, this will fill up with fatty acids and stuff, and it will start breaking the absorbate down and go back in. So this skimmer, if cleaned twice a week, is not too bad. But against a good skimmer, if it's only cleaned once a week or once every 2 weeks, it will not stack up. So with a cheap skimmer like this, clean it regularly, yeah, not so bad. Try and go without cleaning it, it's not so good. Now, what's going to happen with this tank is when you turn the pump off, the water, some of the water is going to go from down here to down here. So this is going to go from here up to here. So over time, this is going to evaporate. So while your tank is on, I will fill it up to just here, just under here. Because you want your skimmer always in the same depth of water, or you've got to reset your skimmer every time. So then this, you're going to fill it up to here, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to evaporate. So a couple of times a week, I get a bit of RO water and just tip it in the tank, just fill it back up to here again. Don't go over here, or this one will go nuts. So always fill it up to here, not over. And the more regularly you fill this up, the better. And if you get the shits filling it up, then you need to figure out how to put an auto top up on, which is never impossible. Inside the pump and inside the skimmer pump are impellers. So you want to pull them out a couple of times a year and give them a clean. Now this is starting to go up, so what we want to do is open this tap up a little bit. See, if we close it, it goes over the edge. If we open it, it goes down. So it'll take a little while to stabilize. So just play with it, change a little bit, wait for a while, change a little bit, wait for a while. If the white bubbles are in the neck, it's good. If yellow bubbles in the neck, it's not good. You've got to close the valve off. If white bubbles are coming out, that's not good. You've got to open the valve up. So skimmer, very easy. Marine pure, Don't clean it in tank water, only clean it in tap water. And make sure you go for Marine Pure, don't go for any of the copies. The heater runs at 25 degrees. You got the pump here. Now what we're going to do next is put some live rock in this tank. Now the live rock is going to need curing. So that'll be 1 to 3 weeks until the water's right after the live rock goes in. Then we can add some fish. We want to add some fish at a salinity of 1.020. Then we can, so let's say a pair of clownfish, that's about it. Then we wait 1 full month. We never, ever, ever add fish to the tank if we've added fish within a month or if we've had any issues with our fish within a month. You got to have a good month, then you can add fish. So you're going to put some fish in, then you're going to slowly up the salt by taking a bit of water out, put some saltier water in, dissolve a bit of salt, whatever you want to do. You want to raise about 1 degree a day. Then when you get up to 0.025, you can start putting some corals and inverts in there. Now, when it's time to get more fish, assuming you don't have a quarantine tank, then what you're going to have to do is drop the salinity again. Going down, no problem. Going up, big problem. So it's very important that you go up very slowly, like 1 degree a day. But you can go down fast. But the corals don't really like it when it's down. But if you drop it down to 0.020 and then raise 1 degree a day and go back up again, normally the corals are fine. But if you drop it down 0.020 and forget that you dropped it down and you leave it there, then you can expect your corals to start to die. So then what's going to happen next is about a month down the track, we're going to start doing water changes. We want to do about 1/4 water change at a time. So we get a gravel cleaner, get all the crap out of the gravel, pull a couple of 20-litre drums out would be good. Have a couple of 20-litre drums ready with new fresh water, fresh salt water, put that in. That's our water change done. Now, you want to clean the glass at least once a week. Once you put the live rock in, what happens is you start getting this diatom algae grow everywhere. It looks terrible. Then, after that, you'll often get green algae. And that looks terrible too. But if you start to control your phosphate levels, once you get your phosphate down, the green algae will go away. And then around the 3, even to 6 month mark, you should start getting some coralline algae. And that means that's good. Now, if you haven't controlled your nutrients at this time, let's say a few months down the track, then you start getting red slime algae. And that looks crap. If you get red slime algae, you need to control your nutrient levels. You need to make sure your skimmer's effective, make sure it's been cleaning twice a week, make sure that you're cleaning your filter sock twice a week. If you get the shits cleaning the filter sock, you can get rid of that and put some polyfilter there. Then you can be a bit lazier. And now what we're going for with this tank is a pH of 8.4. If it drops below 8.4, we will put some buffer, KH buffer in the water. We want to keep the KH in this aquarium about 8. It's very important that we run 0 ammonia and nitrite at all times. Over a period of time, as the fish are producing waste, then we need to control the phosphate and nitrate. A dosing pump is the best thing ever to create nitrate and phosphate. Get rid of that. So if you put like a little piece of timber here, you could put your dosing pump here. You'd have to put your bottles, you could either put them down the back or you could put them on the piece of timber. You have to be a little bit creative. Or you can just get some double-sided tape and maybe a bit of silicone and put the dosing pump up to the roof. And if you got one of the Aquamatic ones, you could put the thing on the door so the dosing pump could be contained within there. Because the dosing pump is the best thing that you can ever get. Because over time, this aquarium is going to be producing nitrate and phosphate. Therefore, adding organic carbon is going to control nitrate and phosphate. But it needs to be added daily. And that's a pain in your ass. So if you do it with a dosing pump, then you don't have to do it anymore. Then, as you start adding corals, once again, putting fish in at low salt, slowly raise the salt, add a couple of fish. Wait a month, add a couple of fish. Wait a month, add a couple of fish. Until this tank's full. Probably about 6 fish for most people would put in this tank. And then over that time, you can put more and more corals in. But when you do drop the salt, you've got to bring the salt back up again, 1 degree a day. Otherwise, you'll start losing your corals. And then, over time, your corals should start growing. Now, this tank might get some natural sunlight. So therefore, the light might actually be quite good. But the lights that come on these tanks, they're a little bit, how's your father? Because these lights have 450 nm diodes and 10,000 Kelvin diodes. So basically, they're not quite right as far as the lights. Normally it goes around the other way, but maybe it looks nicer that way. Yep. So the lights here are okay, but they're not quite right. And once again, if you're getting a little bit of natural sunlight, maybe this is okay, as long as you can control the temperature. If it's not, then you've either got to be more careful with your corals, or you need to get new lights. If you've got like a Prime HD, excellent light for this tank. Also with these lights, don't have the light too far back. It's good to have the light a little bit forward, because you want the light shining back to the corals. We don't want the light behind the corals. Yeah, whack that in. So you want the light on about 8 hours a day. And once again, at Majestic Aquariums, we suggest that we have 1, 2, 3 corals and 1, 2, 3 fish. A 1 coral or a 1 fish is what you really want in this tank. That means they're very easy to look after. A number 2 means they're not always easy to look after. And a number 3 means they're absolutely not easy to look after. So when you're buying animals for this tank, you want to buy number 1s. Number 1 fish and number 1 corals. They'll usually do well in this tank, even if you don't get new lights. If you do get new lights, then you can start going into the number 2s. But unless you're very experienced, you really don't want to go near the number 3s, because you're probably going to kill it. So once again, the things you're going to have to watch on this tank: clean the skimmer twice a week. Clean the sock, filter sock, once a week. Clean the sump out and give that a good clean about every 6 months. Do the impellers as well when you do that. Do the gravel clean when you do a water change, once a month. Wipe over the glass once a week. Do a water test once a week. And with the water test, what you want to do is always write down the test results. I don't know. It's all good. So, as far as doing water tests are concerned, you want to test the water and write it down in a logbook. Or there's some really cool apps available now that you can put them in the app, and it can record it all for you. Anyway, value for money, super good tank. Can't go wrong. For the money you spend on this, very, very, very good. Obviously the door's not on, but super good value tank. Very good fun. Signing out.